Hello everyone and welcome to All Things Watched. In this video we are going to talk about the brand new movie Knox Goes Away, and this movie had a great cast. We got to see Michael Keaton, of course, is the main character. He portrays the character as Knox, but Ray McKinnon was also in this movie, and I am a huge fan of, well, both Michael Keaton and Ray McKinnon. I believe that those two actors are just, top tier A-list actors, and so to get to see them work together in this movie was really just a pleasure, and I really enjoyed seeing them here. And of course we had Cassie Morones, Paul Perry, and Paul Perry is another actor that I absolutely love, but also James Marsden, and I believe James Marsden was the character that was in Westworld, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was one of the leads in Westworld, so I'm a big fan of him as well. So in terms of the casting of this movie, this was a no-brainer for me. I had to go see it. I knew Michael Keaton alone brought me to the movie. I didn't even know Ray McKinnon was in it until I actually started watching the movie, but I had no idea what the movie was about beforehand. I never seen any trailers. I never read the plot or the synopsis or anything like that, but the movie is about exactly what the title says: Knox Goes Away. And very early on in the movie, without giving, this is not like a big spoiler, but very early on in the movie you'll learn that Knox, which was Michael Keaton's character, he portrays a character known as Knox, who is basically a hitman for hire, and he works for this company known as Jericho, or the Jericho, or something like that. And very early on in the movie, pretty well first act, he is diagnosed right away with a very aggressive form of dementia. So he is slowly but surely starting to, forget things and basically lose his mind in a very quick manner because of this certain type of dementia that he had. It's a very aggressive, very fast-acting type of dementia. So so think about the idea now. You have this hitman who's a hitman for hire. Now he's, just diagnosed with this aggressive dementia. Also, something else that happens very early on in the movie is that he ends up meeting his son, who was portrayed by James Marsden, and his name was Miles. Of course, his last name is Knox Miles. He was his son, and so this is sort of another problem that, Michael Keaton's Knox, this is a problem that John Knox ends up coming in with very early on in the movie as well, is that his son comes to him for help because his son ends up killing somebody who he claims it was somebody who had raped his daughter. So he just, I guess, out of anger and, just anguish and anger and just probably even hatred towards the guy, he just acts on impulse, so to speak, and he ends up killing the guy, but he does it brutally. He stabs him like a bunch of times and all this stuff. I know it probably sounds like I'm giving the movie away, but it's not really. This is not any crazy spoilers, stuff that you'll find out pretty early on overall. And so now you have this, a few different problems going on. Now you have John Knox, who is just, diagnosed with dementia, so he's trying to deal with that. On top of that, he works with Jericho as a hitman for hire, so he sort of has to deal with that because, that company, Jericho, is kind of thinking to themselves, well, how much is he going to tell on us? What kind of information does he have? Could he become a liability? And then, of course, then you have his son now coming to him and saying, hey, I killed a man and I want you to help me to clean up the sort of, fake the crime scene and clean up the crime scene and all that kind of stuff. So that whole dynamic of all these different angles I thought was very compelling watching the movie. And I would say that this is very much a slow burner. This is not like a pedal to the metal action movie. It is more of a slow burner with little hints of action sprinkled throughout the entire movie. But in terms of performances, man, all the performances here, I felt like anyways, and all these things are subjective, but I felt like they all knocked it out of the park. I really enjoyed this movie, and I would definitely recommend you watch it, because watching John and Michael Keaton's performance of John Knox, sort of go through these different stages, although it was very quickly, still seeing him go through these different stages of dementia while also having to handle all these everyday problems that he probably has in everyday, being a hitman for hire, so he's trying to avoid the authorities to some degree. He's trying to keep the company Jericho happy. He's trying to sort of get all of his, final affairs in order. Now he has to help his son and all these things. And it was just so cool, such a cool idea to see this type of movie where you have this man who's, has all this craziness going on in his life, all this murder and action and all these crazy things now coming and sort of crumbling down around him because of the fact that he now has dementia. And so you do start to see, as the movie progresses and his dementia progresses, you do start to see, you know, little problems sprouting up here and there. You know, he starts to forget something. At first he might just forget something small, but then it gets to the point where he can't remember if he maybe did something at the crime scene or left something. And it was so cool seeing that sort of snowball effect, you know, throughout the entire film. And I just had a lot of fun watching it, even though it wasn't like a crazy pedal to the metal action movie. It was still very compelling to see. I was always interested to see how is it going to end. Is he going to die? Is he going to get away with a lot of stuff because he has dementia? Or is it, you know, is Jericho, the company Jericho, going to end up killing him? So I was very interested in that aspect of it, to see how was the story going to finish, how was he going to finish out his life. And I was actually expecting the movie to go one way, but it actually didn't. I thought we were going to end up finding out at the end of it that maybe something that we think is happening is actually in his mind because of the fact that he had dementia, but it turns out that they actually didn't go that way. So, you know, I was expecting them to sort of like try to pull the rug out from under you and be like, surprise. But like I said, the performances were done really well. It was a really compelling story, and I really liked it. And it was really cool to see someone, I mean, it's never cool to see someone suffer from dementia, but I like the concept of, if you're going to portray that in a movie, I like the idea of it being a hitman, someone who kills people for a living. I just thought that part of the movie was very compelling. It was really cool, and Michael Keaton's performance, and plus Ray McKinnon, and all the performances in this movie were really spot on, which really, you know, made the movie very entertaining to watch. And so for me, I would probably give this movie like a 70%, or, you know, at the worst that I would give it would be like a 65, but I think I feel pretty comfortable giving it a 70% as well. Definitely a 65, but I'll be generous and give it a 70. I would totally watch it again once, or, you know, one or two more times, you know, with somebody. You know, I would definitely recommend you watch it if you have the opportunity to watch it. But overall, I really enjoyed Knox Goes Away, and yeah, and I just thought the whole idea of a hitman having dementia, I just thought it was such an interesting idea, and I really enjoyed watching the performances. I don't know that this movie would have worked if it was somebody else playing these characters, but given the fact that it was Michael Keaton and Ray McKinnon and all these other great actors, you know, it worked. But I don't know that it would have worked, you know, with somebody else playing John Knox. But anyways, folks, that's my review of Knox Goes Away. Let me know in the comment section below if you've seen it, and if you liked it, tell me why or why not. If you liked this video, click that subscribe button, and until the next one, take care.